Greetings everyone! Today we're going to explore solving two-step equations. For these notes, we do have a handout, but if you do not have access to it, you can definitely just jot these down in your notebook. The first step in solving two-step equations is to identify the operations in the equation. Meaning we want to take a look and just see, are we multiplying, adding, what symbols are there, or what symbols should there be? Next, we want to decide which of those operations to undo first. When we looked at one-step equations, there was only one option, but now the order matters. So to do this, we're going to want to do PEMDAS backwards. So when simplifying, we use PEMDAS. When solving, we do PEMDAS backwards. So if we take a look at the letters, that means we're going to add or subtract first, and we're going to multiply or divide second. We're going to start with just those two steps. So first we're going to undo any addition or subtraction, and then we're going to undo any multiplication or division. So today, maybe put a star by step 3 and 4. Those are going to be the two main things you have to keep looking at. Let's start off with example 1. Now, as I always encourage you, please draw a line down the equal sign. So the first step, I need to undo any addition or subtraction. Okay, so let's see. Look at the x. Where is the x located? What am I adding or subtracting to that x? I'm adding a 3, so I'm going to subtract 3. And remember, that line is there to remind us that if I subtract 3 on the left side, I subtract 3 on the right side. Just like before, the opposites go away. The 2x falls down, the equals falls down, and I have a calculation on the right side. All right, step 2 says, I want to undo any multiplication or division. Well, let's take a look. What am I doing to the x? I'm timesing by 2. So instead of timesing, we're going to divide. Multiplying and dividing are opposites. They cancel out. The x falls down. The equals falls down. And I have a calculation of 12 divided by 2 on the right. Let's take a look at example 2. Draw a line down the equal sign. First step, addition or subtraction. All right, look at where the letter is. So it's on the left side. So looking at that left side, what am I adding or subtracting? Well, I see plus 10. So instead of plus 10, we're going to minus 10. It's the opposite. It's the inverse operation. So a positive 10 and a minus 10 cancel out. That's what we need. In this case, the b over 3 falls down, the equals falls down, and on the right side, we have a calculation of 1 minus 10, which is negative 9. Second step, multiply or divide. Look at the letter. What am I doing? It says divide by 3, so we're going to undo that and times by 3. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Therefore, the b falls down, the equals falls down, and negative 9 times 3 is negative 27. Let's look at example 3. Draw a line down the equal sign. First step today is adding or subtracting. So look at the letter. What am I adding or subtracting to the letter? I see x minus 4. So to undo that, we're going to plus 4. What I do to one side, I do to the other. Minus 4 plus 4 goes away. Negative x falls down, and on the right side, I have a 12. Next step, we're going to multiply or divide. So remember, we did one of these before. It's unique because we have to remember that technically there's a 1 in front of the x. So right now it actually says -1 times x. So instead of times -1, we are going to divide by -1. That's going to be tough with just a negative sign. So we have to remember that means I divide by a -1. The x falls down and the right side becomes -12. Let's draw a line down the equal sign. First step, plus or minus. Well, look at where the letter is. The letter says y minus 5. So instead of y minus 5, we want to plus 5. On the right side, the 4y falls down. On the left side, I have a calculation that gets me to 20. Next, we want to multiply or divide. See, same steps. Every time today, we will add and subtract first, followed by multiply and divide. Instead of 4 times y, technically there's a dot there, right? Instead of times 4, we're going to divide by 4. Times 4 divide 4 cancels. The y falls down. 20 divided by 4 gives me a calculation of 5. Now, we have a special case here. This is the one time where we don't follow the steps in order. So we still draw a line down the equal sign. That's always the case. But if I try to add 7 first, look at how that 3 is in the way, right? When you have a big fraction bar like this, it's almost like overpowering the whole problem. That 3 is in the way. That 3 is taking over the problem, right? Think of maybe a person who takes over the conversation. You can't do what you need to do until that person leaves. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to kick that 3 to the other side. We're going to acknowledge that that divide 3 is taking over the problem. So we're going to do the inverse or the opposite and multiply both sides by 3. The x minus 7 falls down, and on the right side I have -36. See how that makes the problem look nicer? So, special case, when you have a big fraction bar, a number that's in the way, move it first. Now I can add or subtract because I see that the x has a subtract 7, so we are going to add 7. The x falls down, equals falls down, -36 plus 7 gets me to -29. All right, let's take a look at this one. We draw a line down the equal sign. I want to add the 1 over first, but I can't because the 4 is in the way. Uh-oh, that 4 is taking over the whole problem. So we have another special case. Instead of divide by 4, we need to multiply by 4. We need to kick it to the other side using the opposite. Therefore, the y minus 1 falls down, and I have a -8. That looks much easier. Now we could do the add or subtract. Instead of y minus 1, we're going to plus 1. The y falls down, equals falls down, and I've got a calculation of -7. The last example is we are going to write the words into letters, numbers, and symbols. That's what we did all first unit. And then we're going to solve it. So first of all, I'm going to read this sentence. 5 less than the product of 2 and a number x is 17. So less than, you guys know really well, is subtraction. But remember, less than goes last. Remember how we did that? So 5 less than is -5. Okay, what are we subtracting from? The product. What does product mean? That means times. So I'm multiplying 2 and a number x. Now here's what we're going to add. We haven't used the word is a lot. Is means equals. so equals 17. So what's in purple is what we haven't done yet. What we've done though now is we've created an equation that looks like the other examples. So my first step is I am going to add or subtract, oh my goodness, instead of subtract 5, we're going to add 5. The 2x falls down, the equals falls down, and I have 22 on the right. Next step, multiply or divide. Instead of 2 times x, we're going to divide by 2. The x falls down, and I have an 11 on the right. Are there other ways to find that 11? Yes, some of you are good at just figuring sentences out, but I want to see these steps so that they match the rest of the work, because we're going to add more steps every day. To do, make sure, as always, you check Google Classroom. What is the assignment for today? Do we have any missing work? Take a look at PowerSchool. PowerSchool will let you know specifically what homework you're missing. If you have questions, let me know. And until next time, have a good one.